If you're moving to Boston and you have no idea where to start your apartment search, you're in the right place. When I moved to Boston, I didn't find a lot of resources out there to figure out the differences between all the neighborhoods in the city. My goal for this video is to introduce you to some popular neighborhoods in Boston so you can explore more detailed videos I've created to help find the perfect area for you. Making a well-informed decision on which neighborhood to live in is so important because Boston's neighborhoods are so different, and the one that you pick could significantly impact your lifestyle and quality of life while living in the city. Note, the target audience for this video is anyone who wants to live closer to city center, but that's probably going to be young professional transplants, recent college grads, or empty nesters living their best life. And as someone who just turned 30, I now have a decade's worth of experience to pass to you before I move out of the city center and onto a life in the suburbs. So here are some great places for someone moving to Boston to live in no particular order of importance. One of the most popular spots right now for young adults in Boston is South Boston, commonly known as Southie. Southie has traditionally been a bit more affordable than other parts of the city, though that has started to change in recent years with new developments. If you live near the T-line that runs along the border of the neighborhood, you have easy access to the rest of the city. There's also a good chance that if you live close to the T, you will have a newer apartment with modern amenities like heat, central AC, and in-unit laundry. The good news is that as you move away from the T, you move closer to the beach in the neighborhood, so not a bad trade-off. Southie has lots of great bars if you're looking for a bit of nightlife, and solid brunch options for the morning after. Note, if you live further into Southie, it becomes more of a chore to get elsewhere in the city, which could lead you to spending less time in other neighborhoods, but the good news is that you have so much so close, and if you're a young adult, there will be many people the same age as you in every bar. The South End, which, although the name is similar, is totally different than Southie, is another popular spot for young adults to live, but not necessarily to go out to drink. The area has an assortment of restaurants, but not a ton of bars that are open late. However, brunch spots and coffee shops along Tremont Street and throughout the neighborhood are great options during the day. If you live near the Orange Line, you can get anywhere in the city, though at the time of publishing this video, the Orange Line is shut down for a month. But when it opens back up, you'll have great access to wherever else you want to go in Boston. Fenway is another great option for young adults. You might recognize the name because Fenway Park is where the Red Sox play, but this neighborhood has so much more to offer. It borders multiple colleges, so it naturally skews younger, and there are lots of great bars, both new and old, an assortment of apartments, both new and old, and endless dining options, both new and old. If you're going to be working in the Longwood medical area and hate commuting, Fenway is an easy choice for you. It's got all the amenities, groceries, gyms, running paths, etc., and convenient T access, so you could easily live in Fenway without a car. Just across the Charles River from Boston is Cambridge, and a trendy area for young professionals in Cambridge is Central Square. Central Square is very artsy. Its bars and restaurants are quirkier than other parts of Boston and Cambridge. The neighborhood has quite the conglomeration of people because on one side you have MIT, on the other side you have Harvard, and then you have people working at the big tech and biotech companies in the area. I wouldn't say Central Square is removed from the hustle and bustle of the rest of Boston because it's still a dense urban area, but it can be a good option for you if you aren't enthralled by living downtown, but still just want to be a couple of T stops away from the center of the city. It's definitely a solid spot for young adults. I certainly could not make this list without including Allston-Brighton because over half of the residents in these two neighborhoods are between the ages of 18 and 34. Note, these are two sister neighborhoods. They're always referenced together. They have very similar living options, which include fun places to eat and drink. This area is also a bit more affordable than other neighborhoods closer to the center of Boston, and it's very common to have roommates if you live here. Allston-Brighton has a few unique considerations. Many of the leases here turn over on September 1st due to the large student population, so if you're planning to move here around this time, be sure to plan ahead as apartments lease quickly and moving supplies can be hard to come by. Since the area skews young, Allston-Brighton can be a bit rowdy at times. Maybe this is what you're looking for. You also need to do your research because many units have been leased to students for decades, and living situations don't need to be spectacular to please students. One note, while you are surrounded by other young adults, you're going to be further away from the center of Boston, but thankfully the T runs through both neighborhoods, although the trains on this line don't run as often as other parts of the T. I'm also going to throw Beacon Hill out there as a solid option for young adults. It's expensive, but you aren't going to get much more centrally located, which is good because there's really not a lot to do within Beacon Hill, but you're a hop, skip, and a jump to everything else the city has to offer. If what you want to do isn't within walking distance, you're close to all of the T lines. If you're a fan of amazing Italian food, the North End could be a solid option. The North End is also referred to as Boston's Little Italy, and as you would expect, living in this neighborhood puts you steps away from some of the best pizza, cannoli, and other treats you'll ever find. You're also within walking distance to the Orange and Green lines, and you have access to bocce courts, basketball courts, and baseball, softball, kickball fields. 3 considerations of living in the otherwise charming North End. 1, trash day can create a bit of a smelly and crowded situation. 2, if you don't own a car, it can be really hard to park here, although street parking is free, so that's good. And 3, there are always a lot of tourists either on the Freedom Trail or at any of the dining establishments. But don't let these 3 considerations scare you away from the neighborhood. Just be mindful of them. Finally, the West End is another good option for young adults if you want to live in a newer apartment that will likely include amenities such as a gym. Don't let the fact that TD Garden is in this neighborhood fool you. The West End is very much residential. Other than concerts and sporting events, there really isn't a draw for tourists to this area because it lacks that traditional Boston charm. However, it does have everything anyone needs to live comfortably, all while being within walking or T distance to everything else Boston has to offer. There are a few other popular neighborhoods that don't really skew young for a few different reasons, but they're still good places to live, I guess, if you want to. Back Bay is gorgeous, but it's the second most expensive zip code in the country. Even with roommates, it can be tough to make this neighborhood work in your budget, and honestly, no one really goes out in Back Bay unless it's for a fancy dinner or brunch. Like Back Bay, Seaport is crazy expensive. It's not really on the T. That being said, it can be a fun spot to go out, and it's also one of the few places in Boston that offers entirely new apartments with modern amenities like heat, AC, and laundry and unit. Charlestown is quaint. It's a bit more separated from the city. It's a bit more quiet. It really seems to be more of a good spot for young families that aren't quite ready to move to the suburbs, and maybe that's what you're looking for. So these are just a few great neighborhood options for young adults, or at least those who are young at heart, who are moving to Boston and want to be closer to city center. Let me know in the comments if I missed any neighborhoods you think would be great for young adults. Like the video if you enjoyed, and subscribe to see some more videos.